Hey there, fellow senior travelers. Today I want to talk about the most common complaints I hear from seniors when they travel to Mexico. And I'll be honest with you, some of these are legitimate concerns that need addressing, while others are just cultural misunderstandings that can easily be avoided once you know what to expect. The first complaint I hear all the time from senior travelers is about the Mexican concept of time. And look, I'm not going to lie to you, the concept of time here is definitely different from what you might be used to back home. If someone says they'll meet you at 8 o'clock, that probably means 8:30 or 8:45, and that's completely normal. I understand this can be particularly frustrating for seniors who are used to punctuality and have planned their days carefully. You might have medications to take at specific times, or you might prefer to eat dinner earlier in the evening. Here's what I recommend. When you're booking tours or making dinner reservations, always ask what time things actually start, not just the official time. Build in extra buffer time for everything. If you need to be somewhere by 6 p.m. for health reasons, plan as if everything will run 30 to 45 minutes late. The second major complaint I hear from senior travelers is about the service pace in Mexican restaurants. Look, this ties directly into that time concept I just mentioned. When you sit down at a restaurant here, you're not just going out to eat, you're going out to spend time with family and friends, and there happens to be fantastic food that goes along with it. I get it though. If you're used to American-style service where your drink order is taken immediately and your food arrives within 15 minutes, this can feel frustratingly slow. Here's my advice. Embrace it as part of the cultural experience, but also be proactive. When you sit down, immediately ask for the menu and let your server know if you're on any kind of timeline. Most servers are incredibly accommodating when you explain your needs politely. Now let's talk about something that affects seniors more than younger travelers, Montezuma's revenge. Yes, the dreaded stomach issues that can really put a damper on your vacation. Here's the thing, you absolutely cannot drink the tap water anywhere in Mexico, and you know what? The locals don't drink it either. For seniors, this is particularly important because dehydration and stomach issues can be more serious as we age. Here's what you need to do. Drink only bottled water, and I mean for everything. Brush your teeth with bottled water. Avoid ice unless you're absolutely certain it's made from purified water. When you're buying fruits and vegetables from markets, there are special fruit and vegetable washes you can buy at any grocery store here. I always tell senior travelers to pack Imodium and Pepto-Bismol in their carry-on luggage. Another complaint I hear frequently from seniors is about the bathroom situation, and this is a big one. In many places throughout Mexico, you cannot flush toilet paper down the toilet. Instead, there's a small wastebasket next to the toilet where used toilet paper goes. I know this sounds unsanitary and frankly gross to many people, especially seniors who might have mobility issues that make this more challenging. Look, I'll give it to you, this is definitely an adjustment, and it happens throughout Latin America, so it's not unique to Mexico. Here's what I recommend. Always carry a small pack of tissues or toilet paper with you because many public restrooms don't provide it. Also, carry a small bottle of hand sanitizer for after you use public facilities. Now let's address something that particularly affects senior travelers, the noise level. Mexico is a very vivacious culture where music plays a huge part in daily life. Family gatherings are loud and joyful, and noise is just part of the cultural fabric. You're going to hear mariachi music, you're going to hear families celebrating, and you're going to hear traffic that seems much louder than what you're used to.
I understand that as we age, we often become more sensitive to noise, and many seniors prefer quieter environments, especially in the evening when you're trying to rest. Here's my advice. Pack a good pair of earplugs and don't feel bad about using them. When you're booking hotels, ask for rooms that face away from the street or main plaza areas. Here's a complaint that really gets to senior travelers. Why does every single tour seem to include a stop at an artisan market? Look, Mexico has incredible artisans and craftspeople, and there are beautiful things you can buy here. But it seems like every tour includes a mandatory hour or two at some market where you feel pressured to buy things.
I get why this is particularly annoying for seniors. You might have limited energy for walking around markets, or you might simply prefer to spend your time seeing the historical and cultural sites you actually paid to visit. Here's what you can do. When booking tours, specifically ask about market stops and how long they last. If you're stuck with a market stop, use it as a bathroom break and a chance to sit down and rest. Let's talk about meal timing, which is a big adjustment for many senior travelers. In Mexico, lunch typically happens around 2 p.m. and dinner often doesn't start until 9 p.m. or later. This can be really challenging if you're used to eating dinner at 5 or 6 p.m., especially if you take medications with food. Here's the thing. If you want to experience authentic Mexican cuisine, you need to adjust your schedule somewhat. Many hotels serve meals at more international hours. You can also have a larger breakfast and a smaller lunch to tide you over until a later dinner, or consider having your main meal at lunch when restaurants are open earlier. Now let's address a major concern for senior travelers: safety and security. I hear this all the time. I'm always worried someone's going to scam me. I'm worried about the taxis. I'm worried about people taking my things. Look, I'll be honest with you, as a senior traveler, you do need to pay attention a bit more than younger travelers might. But here's the thing. If you stay in the tourist areas where tourists normally go, you're generally going to be fine. Use official taxis or ride-sharing apps like Uber. Have your hotel arrange transportation when possible. Don't flash expensive jewelry or large amounts of cash. These are the same precautions you'd take in any major city anywhere in the world. Here's something that drives senior travelers crazy. No one ever just says no in Mexico. You'll ask, "Is that restaurant good?" and get, "Oh, it's okay, but I like this other place better." You just want a straight yes or no answer, and it seems impossible to get one. This is deeply embedded in Mexican culture. People don't want to give you bad advice, and they don't want to create conflict. Here's how to handle it. Ask more specific questions. Instead of, "Is this restaurant good?" ask, "Do you personally eat at this restaurant?" Instead of asking about buses, ask, "Which option would you choose if you were me?" Let's talk about money issues, which seem to particularly affect senior travelers. The biggest complaint I hear is, "What do you mean I can't pay with US dollars?" Look, Mexico uses the Mexican peso, and while many tourist areas will accept dollars, you shouldn't count on it. What's particularly frustrating for seniors is when you finally get pesos, but then vendors won't accept your large bills. Always break your large bills at hotels, restaurants, or larger stores before you go to street vendors or small shops. Keep small denominations with you at all times. Also, credit cards are widely accepted at restaurants and hotels, but not at street food stands or small shops. Cash is still king for many transactions. Now, since many senior travelers choose resort vacations, let me address some resort-specific complaints. The biggest one I hear is that resort food has nothing authentically Mexican about it. You're in Mexico, you want to try Mexican food, but the resort buffet looks like it could be anywhere in the world. Here's what you can do. Ask the staff what authentic Mexican dishes they serve. Often there's a small section that serves traditional food. You just have to know to ask for it. Also, don't be afraid to leave the resort for some meals. Many resorts offer shuttle services to nearby towns where you can experience authentic Mexican cuisine. Another resort complaint from seniors is about watered-down drinks. Here's the reality. Resort bartenders have very specific guidelines about how much alcohol they can put in drinks. If you want better drinks at a resort, and I hate to say this, but tipping does make a difference. If you tip your bartender well on the first day, you're likely to get better service and stronger drinks for the rest of your stay. Here's something that confuses many senior travelers. Where are the nachos and burritos? You come to Mexico expecting the food you know from Mexican restaurants back home, but authentic Mexican cuisine is quite different from Tex-Mex. Nachos aren't really a thing in most of Mexico. The food here is going to be different from what you expect, and that's actually a good thing. Be adventurous, but don't be afraid to ask servers to explain dishes. Transportation is a major concern for senior travelers, and honestly, it's a valid concern. The traffic can be intense, and figuring out how to get from place to place safely can be stressful, especially if you don't speak Spanish. Here's my strong recommendation for senior travelers. Use ride-sharing apps like Uber whenever possible. The cars are tracked, the drivers are rated, and you don't have to negotiate prices. If you're not comfortable with apps, have your hotel arrange transportation for you. Yes, it might cost a bit more, but the peace of mind is worth it. Let me address something specific to senior travelers: mobility and accessibility concerns. Many historical sites in Mexico involve a lot of walking, uneven surfaces, stairs, and areas that might not be easily accessible for people with mobility issues. Before booking tours or planning to visit specific sites, research the physical requirements. Many tour companies offer modified tours for people with mobility limitations. Don't be embarrassed to ask about this when booking. Consider hiring private guides who can customize the experience to your physical capabilities. Here's something that particularly affects senior travelers: dealing with altitude. Many popular destinations in Mexico are at significant elevation. Mexico City is over 7,000 feet above sea level. If you have heart conditions or respiratory issues, this can really affect you. Talk to your doctor before traveling to high-altitude destinations. Consider spending a day or two acclimatizing before doing strenuous activities. Drink plenty of water, avoid alcohol for the first day or two, and don't push yourself too hard initially. Let's talk about language barriers, which can be particularly challenging for senior travelers. While many people in tourist areas speak some English, you shouldn't count on it everywhere you go. Learn a few basic Spanish phrases before you travel. Por favor means please. Gracias means thank you. Habla inglés means do you speak English. Even attempting to speak Spanish, even badly, will get you much better service. People appreciate the effort. Also, carry a small Spanish phrase book or have translation apps downloaded on your phone. Here's a health-related complaint I hear from senior travelers. Difficulty finding familiar medications. If you take regular medications, bring more than enough for your entire trip plus a few extra days in case of delays. Bring them in their original prescription bottles with your name on them. Now let's address something that affects many senior travelers, feeling rushed or pressured during tours and activities. Many group tours are designed for younger, more energetic travelers and move at a pace that might be uncomfortable for seniors. When booking tours, specifically ask about the pace and physical requirements. Look for tours that are specifically designed for mature travelers or smaller group tours that can move at a more relaxed pace. Don't be afraid to book private tours if group tours seem too rushed. Let's talk about tipping culture. Tipping in Mexico is different from what you might be used to at home. At restaurants, 10 to 15% is standard. For hotel housekeeping, $1 or $2 per day is appropriate. For tour guides, 10 to 20 pesos per person is typical. Here's a simple rule. If someone provides you with a service, a small tip is appreciated. This includes taxi drivers, hotel staff who help with luggage, and anyone who goes out of their way to help you. Here's something that really frustrates senior travelers: inconsistent internet and phone service. While major hotels and tourist areas generally have good internet, it can be spotty in more remote areas. Before you travel, check with your cell phone provider about international plans. Many US and Canadian carriers offer affordable Mexico add-ons. Don't rely solely on hotel Wi-Fi for important communications. Let me address something that particularly affects senior travelers: dealing with crowds and pushy vendors. Popular tourist sites can be incredibly crowded, and vendors can be quite persistent in trying to sell you things. Here's how to handle it. Learn to say no gracias firmly and keep walking. Don't feel like you need to be polite and listen to every sales pitch. When visiting popular sites, try to go early in the morning or later in the afternoon when crowds are smaller. Here's a practical complaint I hear from many senior travelers: difficulty reading menus and signs. Many restaurants don't have English menus, and even when they do, the lighting might be dim or the print might be small. Always carry a small flashlight or use your phone's flashlight to read menus in dim restaurants. Don't be embarrassed to ask servers to explain dishes or make recommendations. For navigation, download offline maps to your phone before you travel.
I want to wrap up by saying that despite all these potential complaints and challenges, Mexico is an absolutely wonderful destination for senior travelers. Yes, there are adjustments to make and things to be aware of, but millions of seniors visit Mexico every year and have fantastic experiences. The key is being prepared, being flexible, and approaching the experience with an open mind. The Mexican people are incredibly warm and welcoming, especially to older visitors. The culture has great respect for seniors, and you'll often find that people go out of their way to help you. Don't let these potential challenges scare you away from visiting Mexico. Instead, use this information to prepare better, so you can avoid the common pitfalls and focus on enjoying everything this amazing country has to offer.
What are some things that have annoyed you or concerned you when traveling to Mexico as a senior? Let us know in the comments below so you can help other mature travelers avoid those same issues and have the best possible experience. I hope this helps you prepare for an amazing trip to Mexico, and I'll say bye from here in Mexico City, a place that I think every senior traveler should experience at least once. Safe travels, and remember, age is just a number when it comes to having great adventures.